Good evening. Calling the Antioch Police Oversight Commission meeting to order. Can we please stand? Roll call, please. Mhm.
Thank you. Commissioner Mitchell, excuse me. Commissioner Eloquachi,
Present.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Lacioja,
Present.
Vice Chair Williams,
Present.
Chair Taylor.
Present.
We have a quorum, all present. Thank you.
And can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Onto the consent calendar. We are recommended to approve the meeting minutes from September 15th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Can we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Mitchell,
Affirmative.
Commissioner Eloquachi,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja,
Yes.
Vice Chair Williams,
Aye.
Chair Taylor.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
On to new business. We will have the report out.
All right, there we go. All right, good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, City staff, and community. Tonight I'll give you an update on Police Department's current staffing as of today. So as of today, we have 84 sworn officers, 2 on long-term leave, or injury leave, 1 on military leave, putting us at 81 sworn officers, and that's from the chief down. We have 5 officers in various stages of the field training program. We currently have 2 recruits that we're expecting to graduate from the Contra Costa Academy at the end of this month, and 1 recruit from graduating next month from the Alameda County Academy. We currently have over 100 applicants in various stages of the hiring process as of right now, and we have a captain and 2 lieutenants still in process, and we're hoping to get them onboarded in the coming weeks. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the commission.
Any discussion from you or any questions?
Just for our information, when they go FTO, how long is that process?
Typically, it all depends on the trainee, if they're a lateral or where their experience level falls. But if they're entry level, minimum is 10 weeks, and that's post standard. But we usually go 16 weeks with a 2-week shadow, so up to 18 weeks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything? Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, good work on the department's collaboration with the CHP and the other agencies on the sideshow a week ago. The fact that y'all got 22 vehicles and I think +1 was an extremely positive impact. Lots of positive comments out in the community. One thing I'd like to hear a little more about, was that effort something that we initiated, or was that something that CHP initiated and that we were part of?
The CHP initiated the enforcement. We were actually working on our OTS grant over time, so we collaborated together as it unfolded.
Okay, and is it also safe to say that part of the reason we were able to participate as effectively as we did is because our staffing numbers are up, or would that have been something we would have been able to do regardless?
I would say it, in large part, was because of the OTS grant giving us the opportunity to be out there and work in the overtime for DUI and sideshow enforcement.
For those listening, can we have a abbreviation of OTS?
Office of Transportation Safety, Traffic Safety.
Thank you.
How effective are those speed bumps? Because there's still, there's still quite a few sideshows all over the place, right? So how effective are the little bumps that are in the road? It doesn't seem like they just moved to another area.
Essentially, they could be. I don't know the actual outcome of it, to be honest with you. I've never done donuts, so I couldn't tell you how effective it would be or not. But it's something I could always check in with our traffic sergeant on.
Yeah, I was just curious if the numbers were going down in the city as a result of that.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just have an additional question regarding the OTS grant. I know it's probably based on a dollar amount, but do you know if it will last until the end of the year, or is it until June of next year, or 2027? Is it a yearly grant that the APD has to apply for?
Yes, it's a yearly grant, and I want to say it goes from October to the end of September. So October 1 to the very end of September. And our enforcement on that day was ending the previous year's grant. And we just were awarded a new grant for this next year.
Can you also answer this question for me? Who issues this grant? The OTS grant? Is it issued by the Department of Justice, a federal government agency, state agency?
It's the National
Okay.
Transportation, I believe, is who that is awarded through.
Okay, thank you.
Don't quote me.
Cool. No other questions then? Any public comment? You can stand up to the podium and have your public comment.
Yep.
Hello. So there's been a lot of chatter on Nextdoor and everything that there's only 3 officers per shift, and that's what I wanted to know because I had the same noise complaint about an neighbor that I complained about previously, and one of the officers came and took his address. I filed a formal complaint, but they still do it. The dispatch said, "Oh, a police officer will call you soon." He called me at 4 in the morning, and of course I was asleep, didn't need him to knock on my door that early. So I'm just wondering if there are only still 3 police officers, and once you file a formal complaint and you do another complaint, what happens after that?
Is there any other public comment?
Can I make one? Because I missed the beginning, sorry. I'm sorry I missed the beginning, but I was kind of curious to ask who's reporting tonight for the chief if the city cameras are connected to the Flock system. I've been learning more about like Palantir and Flock and what's happening with license plate information and data. And I heard that we did partner with Flock, so I was kind of curious, are we using the Flock system? So if they can't answer it now, maybe it's not the appropriate time, but since I came a little late. Anyways, yeah, curious, are we using the Flock system? Do you control the data that flows to ICE and other folks like that, or are they able to just reach in and grab it? It's kind of my questions.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
No further public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion from y'all?
Can Captain Cook go ahead and clarify, for everybody's sake, the number of officers that we have on shift per shift, so that that's cleared up. I saw the same conversation, and people tried to correct it, but I think if we could go ahead and indicate how many officers we have per shift, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and not only that, just like make sure like we know which beat is delegated to, which officers are in each beat. I think it would be very helpful for the public to know.
I'm not sure if we can do that for officer safety reasons,
Okay.
but just the general staffing, kind of in general terms, is okay to go through.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so every crew has a minimum of at least one supervisor and 7 officers, and there's a couple crews that have 8 officers and one crew that actually has 9.
Thank you. Is that sufficient for your question? Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not agendized. Thank you. Okay, so we can move on to 4-2, which is our great discussion on community engagement goals. Is there any public comment for item 4-2?
No public comments, thank you.
Okay, so I'll pass it over to our community trust and engagement ad hoc to present first.
Okay.
Commissioner Kennedy, you want to kick it off?
Sure.
Okay.
So we've actually held a couple of meetings separately, but also with Sergeant Fashner, Officer Amiri, and Consultant Sapal. And I think what we have sort of identified is the fact that we need to host some sort of launch event or town hall event that helps inform the public about who the commission is, what the commission does, but also that addresses some of the steps that the department's taking by virtue of the Department of Justice agreement. One of the other things that we discussed, and I think it's fairly evident based on some of the information that was in the one-year community engagement strategy document, and also in the PowerPoint that Mr. Sapal sent all of us, and that is the critical nature of having accurate information out in the community. I think that the example of what was on Nextdoor is a good example of how misinformation can be put out there, and then folks are like, oh yeah, I heard that too. So I think trying to also create some sort of communications, whether we want to call it a campaign, whether we want to call it just simply communication strategies, right? That those are a couple of the things that really are going to be critical to launch. There are also a lot of other ways that we can be out in the community, both as a commission and then also obviously the department. Some of those are going to be formal, some of those are going to be somewhat informal. For example, the captain and Sergeant Fashner were playing in the Rotary Cornhole Tournament at Rhythms on the River this weekend. An informal opportunity for them to be out with members of the community, engaging with them. I don't think a trophy came home, but nonetheless, that's another opportunity to have people out in the community. And I think that what we're realizing is that it's going to take a variety of approaches to get this rolling, basically. We've also got an opportunity coming up with our meeting at Genesis Church. Hopefully we can get members of their congregation to attend or to come out and learn more about who we are and what we're doing. But those are some of the things that we think I know that we've talked about that we want to tackle, I think, sooner rather than later.
And as, thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. So we've always also met, like you said, several times to figure out what this work plan looks like. And I think it's, I hate to say word of mouth, but like that's what it's gonna be, is community members talking about these events that we wanna have, and also going to our different faith communities and laying out what this commission will look like with community. And so we want input, and we've been getting some good input and feedback, and thank you to Sergeant Fatchner and Officer Amiri for their participation in this. I think it's time that Antioch has a strong presence from the police department that is willing to be with the community. And so I'm here for the work. I know you guys are too. Let's get it going. That's kind of what our report's not in here, so I wanted to. Oh, it's on the back. Oh, excuse me. Well, so we were talking about also going into the schools to talk about the how the youth can learn about policing. Coffee with the cops, we've done that several times now. Food Truck Thursdays was a big thing that we wanted to do because there's people already there that we want to build off of that presence. St. Ignatius Church, we want to go to the Islamic community and talk to our seniors as well. So these are all things we were discussing as an ad hoc, and we want to make sure that we can do them with collaboration with the police department. I think that's all I got. Yeah.
I think that probably there's probably like 4 points that kind of sums this up, is what we're going to be looking to do, and the police department is currently also looking to do, is look to build relationships through a foundation of trust, communication, and respect, and ensuring that we have clear, direct communication. That the clear, consistent, direct communication is going to be incredibly important. And one of the terms that y'all may hear me use from time to time is messaging. You know, it's kind of like, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we're trying to accomplish.
Cool. Now that y'all presented, I'm gonna open up public comments so we can have an open discussion.
One more thing. Really big, important thing. Emergency preparedness. We talked about 911 plans for folks who don't have access to that information. We're pretty big on that, and we want to make sure that people know like what is natural disaster preparedness is, and I worked on this at my day job to make sure that people knew how to have a go bag and who to call when something happens. So that's another big thing. So thank you.
Is there any public comment?
No public comments, thank you.
All right, cool. I will open floor for any commissioner who wants to speak first. Correct. Hour-long discussion. Okay.
I did have a moment to speak to the priest at St. Ignatius, and he's very willing to have an event there. They do have AV set up, and they do have a big hall. So if that comes down the road, he said he would schedule something if that opportunity presented itself. Pretty active parish, so I think you would get a good chunk of people, and a pretty diverse group as well. So
Definitely needed for location.
I have a question. I know we're only scheduled to have 2 meetings outside of City Hall, but like, would that be an option? Like, if we wanted to go to St. Ignatius and meet kind of the community where they are?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, thank you. Assistant City Attorney, thank you.
Should we continue and then let you come back with the answer?
I do believe that, even if it is possibly allowed underneath the municipal code, it's also a staffing issue, just because, we would have to have staff out there, have to have, police out there too, so, I think that might be one of the limiting factors. I just want to make sure that, our current ordinance doesn't limit to just like 2 out of City Hall, or if it's at least 2, just so I can give you accurate information there.
Cool. He hasn't finished reading, but staffing would be an issue. I think those are all great suggestions, so I really wanted to have this discussion. I already knew you guys had great suggestions because I know the great work you do, but for us to kind of plan how to get to actually having an event on calendar. So great that we have a location already thrown out, but like the community engagement launch that you mentioned, what would it take for us as a commission to get to the point where we can say, okay, we want an event on this date, this is how we're going to market said event, and what kind of resources will we need from city and or community to help us get where we are trying to be?
I just wanted to make it clear that if we're going to go to a faith-based organization such as a church, such as Genesis,
Just for the people at home. Yeah.
we should refrain from telling them what to do, because already they have their services is already set. And I know for a fact that most churches have a period of announcements. So we can say, well, can you just make sure you announce that we're having this meeting on this day at this
Are you
particular
talking about going
time?
to their facility during the service?
No, but I'm just reading what is on our report. If you look at the bottom.
On the report in here. Okay.
So I just don't think that's a good idea.
Let me
Because
see.
they're opening up their church to us.
Can you read what you're suggesting?
At the bottom it says, create a message for Genesis Church to distribute via announcements during service. They already make announcements. So I'm sure that as it get closer, this is going to be a part of their announcements during their church services. Now, social media, they do have a social media website, and it is awesome. So I'm sure if we ask, they will post this meeting on their Facebook and Instagram social media website. I just wanted to
Flag that.
yes, because if we start going in and say, well, we would like for you to do this and blah 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 blah,
I
that could
understand. Rub people wrong.
yes. Yes. Thank you.
I'm just going to hop in and say that underneath the municipal code states that at least 2 meetings of the police commission shall be held at locations outside of City Hall. So there can be more than 2. However, as I said, with that, there could be staffing issues that are involved.
Lots of planning ahead of time.
Well, we can. Yeah, it's October. One thing I will say about how we're going to conduct our community engagement is by building off of already what exists. So like I mentioned, coffee with the cops and food truck Thursdays. The schools is a big thing for me. I know that there's already been some engagement with our community engagement and liaisons. Can I ask?
I don't know what you're going to ask.
Can I ask Sergeant Fatchner to kind of give a report on that? No, I
It's
cannot.
not
Okay.
agenda item.
And just, they're here they have their own jobs.
Yeah,
We have our
yeah.
own operations, community engagement for PD, although it complements and can be used to force multiply is different. So APOC should not believe that or think that they are staffing your community engagement efforts. So consider what makes a quorum when you go out. and consider force multiplying on what they're already doing. You can do things in partnership and in the lane that, sort of sometimes merges, but they are wholly separate in terms of our operations. I just want to be very clear about staffing.
Well, for the people at home, thank you. I did not know that, so I just want to be clear. Like, I asked the question because of that. Thank you, City Manager. So yeah, we're trying to make sure that we have connections with the schools and the young people who know, what it means to be a safe environment with police officers and things like that. Commissioner Kennedy.
I noticed, and I'm glad you mentioned the schools, that there's currently a survey that's available. I saw it on Councilmember Torres Walker's social media, but an opportunity for the entire community to engage in, I think, sort of this whole student, the name of it all escapes me, but I think it's that that concept of working on not just one portion of education, but all of the pieces that kind of come together. And hopefully safety is going to be part of that. One of the other things, to just sort of come back to things that we can do as a commission, even outside of what I would call a specific event. And I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, it would be an effort to brand who we are. So an option, for example, would be that, maybe, and there's, in that strategy document, it talks about getting messages out via social media, but, perhaps either on the city's social media page, APD's social media page, wherever it's appropriate, commissioners could introduce themselves via a short video. And then, is there the possibility to then deliver different messages? Is it a commissioner's corner, or is it something where we have coffee with cops, or there is coffee with cops and a commissioner, and the commission? It may not be appropriate to expand that title. But again, if we talk about some of the things that are in that strategy document, as far as commissioners being out in the community and listening, those I think are appropriate options for us to pursue. And again, coming back to looking at ways to identify the work that we're doing, identifying the good things and the positive things that are taking place. Prime example is the sideshow effort a couple of weeks ago. There are the Coffee with the Cops event, they had 2, I think, last week. All of those things are good things. I believe that, there's an email list that exists. I believe, City Manager Scott, that there's an email list for email distribution from the city out to the public.
Yes, there's a listserv, so if you would like something to be sent out to the listserv, you would just email me and the PIO.
Okay, great. So another opportunity for us to pull together information that can be distributed to the public, because I think that there's a lot of either confusion or misconception or misperception about who we are and what we do and why we're here. So if we take those first steps to put information out there, I think that that's how we will continue to gain momentum and get the work moving.
I like that. I think social media is, of course, innovative, right? It's the way of the world now, so I definitely think it's something that should be utilized as a tool, but I also want to make sure that we have a physical presence. You guys are definitely always outside, so I'm not saying we do not have a physical presence, but I want to have an organized physical presence, meaning we know where we're showing up, we know that we have target audience that we're trying to be inclusive to. And what I was thinking while I was listening to the discussion regarding St. Ignatius, Genesis, et cetera, is that We do have target audiences, right? We have faith-based, we have community-based orgs. Some of us are actually selected for being within those, those, under those umbrellas. And, like, why are we not assigning two commissioners to a role to kind of go to, we have several, like, apartment complexes that are senior apartments and or the Chamber of Commerce, where we can sit down and have meetings with businesses and like simple things like that to begin branching out our reach, and then utilizing those spaces to then invite folks to the community engagement launch, right? Something like that, so that we have a tangible plan, so we can get to back to what I was saying, a date and an actual event.
So I'm going to come back to the messaging part again. So
That's
is
the
it?
PIO.
Yeah, yes, it's the PIO part of me, sorry. So would it be appropriate for us as an ad hoc to begin to craft some messages, some, like,
Absolutely.
this is who we are, bringing them back to say the next October meeting for just an initial review and conversation and flesh out some
Absolutely.
of these ideas so that we can start to take action.
Absolutely, I think that would be great.
Yeah, and I also think that having some, I brought this up last year, having some name tags that identifies us as commissioners. I think we should do that.
We are creating your name tags and business cards.
Hey.
She definitely just
All
got
right.
that. If I was gonna be like,
Thank you,
thank you,
City Manager.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. I think that's all that we have for our report out on community engagement. Oh,
Well, I'd just like to add that I believe we need to secure one of the senior complexes in the city of Antioch as soon as possible.
Okay.
In our last meeting we did, there were some names that were thrown out. Yes, the Commons, yes, and Tri Vista, and there's one off of Long Tree, up the street. Well, it's up the street. Yes, yes, and Dallas Ranch is one by Dallas Ranch Middle School. Yes.
As the community engagement, I'm asking y'all, do y'all feel comfortable with separating yourselves into a group to reach out to these different groups, or would y'all like for us to join in on, because I don't have a problem doing either. I'm speaking for myself, I'm not trying to overwork y'all. So like if you guys, for instance, want to say 2 folks are gonna work on CBOs, 2 folks are gonna work on youth, 2 folks are, you know what I mean? So that we're taking the load off of each other, then that's fine as well. And you guys can, we can discuss that here, and that way we can all get to work and come back and say, I met with, 2 youth groups. Commissioner Alagwachi met with 2 CBOs, and we can, really start to progress.
yeah, that's fine with me. I really want to get some clarity though. We're gonna work with youths and seniors. Can we do, what is our approach? How do we get into those spaces? I've been talking to some members of the school board and also the senior community to see what our engagement looks like. I don't want to overstep, I think is the thing is.
I think it's simple. Be you. Like, for example, my kids play sports, right? So this weekend, it was going to come up later anyway, but this weekend it's homecoming for the youth football team. So I invited several of the officers to come out and play football and cheerlead, hopefully cheerlead, right? Because they said no to the cheerleading.
What
That's a
time
community
and where?
engagement event.
What
Right?
time and where?
Right? It's a community engagement event, but the point is that it was a free-for-all. It was very just normal, right?
Yeah.
And so don't feel like it has to be, based on like the kind of relationship. Just be normal, your community, their community, so let's bring community together kind of thing.
Okay.
And the league was very comfortable with it. The officers are, ready and willing and having fun with it. And so we can get them with pom-poms, we'll be in a great place. And so that's why I feel like, just go in. I think for the senior centers, I think they have like the community spaces at their place. And I think meet them where they're at. Just call the office, let them know to post a flyer. And they do that. They have like common boards. And I've been in Trevista quite a few times. They definitely have a common area. And then we just show up on that day.
And I'm not trying to brag, but twice, maybe sometimes 3 Sundays out of a month, I go over to a facility in Pittsburgh they have me on the list because they know I've been going over there for more than 2 years. And it's very, not only rewarding to the residents that are there, but also to myself, because I know that I am giving back,
That's right.
you know, to the seniors.
Yeah.
Serving.
Yes.
Mhm.
I also want to see what the community wants. You know, what I mean, this is like a guided plan that we're discussing, but like I think the input from the community would be very helpful to how we lead on this. And so,
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that anybody on the commission that has inroads into particular communities or organizations or entities, Officer Amiri spoke at one of the Rotary clubs a couple of weeks ago, right? So there's an opportunity. I know Sergeant Fashner has talked about making contact out into some of the senior communities and facilities. At the cornhole tournament on Saturday, we were talking about some of the different ways. You know, one thing that's a biggie in that senior community is people who are vulnerable to scams. So the State Contractors License Board at one time had something called Senior Scam Stoppers. That it was a program that they did. We did it in San Mateo County with the member of the assembly that I worked with. So I mentioned that to him. So there, again, I think we want to make sure that we're out there making contact with the groups that are ours that we have relationships with.
Absolutely.
And if folks can then funnel information back to us, so we make sure that we're not duplicating efforts or, you know, whatever. It's a team sport.
Absolutely. To answer what you were saying in regards to community feedback, I think like having those individual sessions that we're discussing based on the target groups, after each event, we should 1000% have some type of survey so that they can not only talk about the event that they were at, but feedback that they want or any type of other events that they would like to have. And then maybe at that community engagement launch event, when we get there, we can definitely do like a pre-question submission, you know, like Q&A style, so that we can answer questions and let community really share what they would like to see from this commission, as well as from what our scope is with APD.
I just want to add on here that something that I always thought would be beneficial, and someone brought up about emergency planning, but also just simply kind of working with APD on maybe dispatch coming out to the schools or to those communities that you're talking about, the senior communities, talking about what do you say when you call 911? How do you deal with someone whose language has a language barrier and English is a second language? How do you prepare them to say a couple of words just to start a response? Explaining what happens with your medical call when it comes into dispatch, that they're just a secondary PSAP. They're not the primary. They're going to have to transfer that call over to a secondary PSAP, which will be Contra Costa Fire, you know, to get the ball rolling. So going into schools, going into senior centers, going around the entire community in different ways. I don't know if you want to show up in classes. I don't know. Yeah. Working with the, the community college, going into those classrooms as well. And some of us have that experience. We'll be able to help out there. But I know that you mentioned that we are not able to direct APD to do anything. But I think that will help them with traffic. You know, the traffic that's coming into the comm center. Because it's frustrating for those dispatchers. They work hard, extremely hard.
I think it's a good idea. I'm just concerned because they have that shortage.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe some of us can help, or we can, you know, collaborate with whomever APD would recommend to collaborate locally. I know people from other agencies, but I don't want to infringe anyway. But I think that is so key for people to know. What do you say when you come in? Because your adrenaline is going, cortisol levels are high, and you call in and you're angry. So if you want that dispatcher to get you service, what do you say? What do they need right off the bat? I think our citizens in the city need to know exactly what to say when they call 911, right? And give them 1, 2, 3. That's for all citizens. And you will get a better response. PD will know exactly where to go, because you need the location more than anything. And then start from there. And I think if we make that a priority of us, with APD, we're gonna get, the citizens in this city will start to feel us. They'll know us and feel us, you know, so that's what I wanted to say.
And that's a key point. Thank you for raising that. We did talk about how we want to educate the community on like how to talk to 911 dispatch, how we want to talk to police officers, and the Angelo Quinto crisis response team and all those things. And it's very essential to, I think, our ad hoc. We need to incorporate that. And that should have been on this report.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But thank you for raising that, Commissioner. Yeah.
I wrote down, because basically, like you named several items earlier, like Food Truck Thursdays. I added Saturdays, which is same location, but same thing. Transparency and comms, basically emergency preparedness, youth dispatch, and then like education, knowing your rights kind of conversations. But those are all event, no, not event-based, but event themes, right? And so those are things that we can get to as we are, you know, past our launch, because that's the first part. Can we right now, if y'all don't mind, focus on who is going to lead what section of engagement? And I'll.
So I was gonna.
Go ahead.
Comment? All right, thanks. One thing that I think could really boost our visibility within the city during the season, I know it's probably gonna wind down pretty soon, would have a couple of us at the farmer's market, maybe passing out information, saying hello, just visibility, maybe 2 of us at a time or whatever, and do a rotation, but maybe have some giveaways of, you know, as you were discussing the 911 responses or anything that would spark some interest and giveaways, and then, hey, our meetings are on blah, 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 try to bark for the meetings, get people to come in and talk about things. But I think that would be a great spot. And then next year, we just had it this last year, the band review. There was a lot of people in town, and all the high schools were there, a lot of families. It was
Where's
a
that?
cool event. It was Antioch High School.
Oh, Antioch High School, okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are in town for that. And I know Antioch, I think Deer Valley was there, but like Freedom, Liberty, a lot of young kids, high schoolers, you know, an audience that we probably want to try to pull in.
Great.
Well, and to that point, Celebrate Antioch just had Rhythms on the River. They're going to have the Holiday Delights in December. That'll be sort of an weather permitting, but you know, there's an afternoon event, there's a parade.
What is it called?
Holiday Delights, DELITES. Yeah, the first Saturday.
Susan, are you going to put together a float for the Christmas parade that the commissioners can cruise down 2nd Street?
I'm going to leave that to you, Joe. So can I offer a suggestion that, and if we want to jump right into this with assignments tonight?
Yes, the plan is to leave with a event
Okay.
tonight. Mm-hmm. Oh, were you done? Yeah, that's the goal.
I was going to say that it might be helpful to kind of just pull all this together and then distribute it, but if you want to do it tonight, we can do it tonight.
Let's do it tonight. Let's move forward. Is there anyone that's interested in the senior group?
Susan, were you going to take on this senior?
Yeah, we're gonna do it after, because.
You were going. So
I'm happy to do some work I can work on any of it because there's some of this that I've done.
Is there, let me just ask this, is there any group that anyone is particularly interested in?
So I was going to work with the youth, and I think Commissioner Lacey Oha was going to work with the faith community, right?
Yeah, well, and I can also work with you because I have experience in
Mike.
that field. I can also work with the youth because I have experience in that field.
Because from what I
Yes,
understood, we
'cause
were
I-
going to take different sections of it when
Yes.
we met last. So
Yeah, my only issue may be finding the time.
Yeah, I know, capacity is a real thing
Yes,
for all of us.
because I
I
have taken on
definitely
some
get it.
additional tasks, duties
Don't overstretch
outside,
yourself, so
so-
if, like, you feel like it's a lot, just pick one or none and let
Yes.
us try, that's why I want to shift the weight and not completely on the adult.
yeah, okay.
I'd like to, I was gonna say, maybe I'm misunderstanding, so correct me. But I think we would get way more bang for our buck if we're just focusing on one thing, that, so we can see ourselves, that we can achieve something in a short amount of time. And then we can take that information and data and decide if it was successful, and then regroup and decide what we didn't do well enough or what we could do better. Because having us all being stretched to different things at different times, maybe we'll get more accomplished. I mean, we'll be in different events, but I think we probably would be better served just deciding one major thing that we're gonna work on, and then.
Yeah, I wouldn't call these events, it's more so general like outreach, so that we have a focus to be able to communicate with the different entities, or yeah, so that we have an ability to invite them to an event. Because as of right now, I mean, of course, we can all use our own network to invite folks, but look at our room right now. So that's clearly not working, right? So it's I'm just saying, hey. So, you know, so trying to further expand this, yes, it's going to take a little bit of work, but you know, we have to put the effort in if we are actually trying to community engage.
Yeah.
Would it make sense to put a pitch together, you know, like an informal,
Yeah, I think that's what.
ad hoc would do?
Yeah, they said they're going to work on it and present it at the next
Right,
meeting.
so that would be something that we're spreading the right message, you know, that we're all on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the hand raised. I'm sorry.
We will definitely meet about creating a pitch for folks, and then something that works, is palatable for, you know, the community as well. We can do that. Yeah. And I think we already we're tiptoeing on that area. We just haven't established anything yet because we wanted to bring it to y'all first and talk about it. So
I have Devin for youth. I have Commissioner Oha for faith-based. I threw myself on seniors because it didn't look like anybody was excited about that.
Yeah, because, well, I don't mind being a part of that too.
No, you just said your capacity is short,
Right.
so we're not going to do that. What about you? Do you guys have space? I know.
Who makes space?
So we have CBO.
the seniors need us.
Okay, so like,
Reaching out to meeting the schools with,
so you.
I'm sorry.
So it would be 911, and
You-
maybe reaching out to the
Our
schools.
education.
Education,
So schooling.
yeah, talking to APD and
I'm
then
gonna
talking to
put you under
dispatch.
Youth, can I just put you under youth? Because it's a little bit different, but I'm trying to figure out.
I think it's gonna be kind of youth and, like, elderly as well, it's all over the place, it depends, but I probably would start
Well,
with.
I think because what you're saying dispatch, but that's like one of the themes, but that's gonna be determined like when we have these different events, who you teach, right? So
It'll
you
be
want to
like
go under seniors and youth, specific to dispatch education?
See, I would think
Can-
that it would be 911,
Can
and
I-
it's just separate in and of itself.
I think education would be a category,
Okay.
and then that category is going to cover age ranges,
Yeah,
or just across the board.
okay.
Thank you very much. And I'm gonna put specific detail on dispatch. Whoa.
And so I'll clarify, with the youth, I want to kind of get into the schools and talk to like the different superintendents and principals, teachers, just to let people know like, oh, this is a commission that happened like 2 years ago. And we want to make sure people know what we're doing. Also, we want to make sure that, I want to make sure that people know that there is oversight for a reason. And I say that because there's a lot that happened here in our city. And I want to make sure that people know that it can never happen again. And it's not bringing down our police department, but more so understanding the standard of policing is going to change, and Antioch has to be the catalyst for that. The reason I'm on this commission is because I want to make sure that people know that bad things happen, and we have to make sure that they don't happen again. I see people in the audience that have been affected by unchecked power. I'm on topic, sorry, but I think it starts with our kids, and I think that is the direction I want to go in, right? I mean, because if we can get to the people who necessarily aren't affected, I think some older adults are jaded, frankly, they are. And if we can get to the youth about proper policing, we can get to change the system and hold people accountable. So there we go. I said it.
And that was the reason why I wanted to be a part of that, because of the simple reason I have 4 children, 2 sons, and I, when everything started happening, I was very concerned, and I am still concerned, and I have a heart for the youth and the young adults. Because many of them, especially our young men,
Were impacted.
yes, and they're targets. They are targets. So that's why I wanted to join forces with Commissioner Williams.
Should I just throw you on this youth?
Yes, because I think I'll be a very,
He's like, I don't have the capacity, but you know what? Okay, so we still have CBOs that has no one. Community-based organizations. Or business, we can just say businesses overall.
I can work on that, although I work as a VIP, and every month I was gonna say garbage, I'll be on garbage detail, but we work with a lot of community that go out with us. When we go out, it'd be a good time to talk, and we have time to do it. And then special events, I'd be interested in working on.
And you're an entrepreneur, so I'm sure you know a lot of other business owners, right?
Yeah, I do, a few.
There you go. I'll also join you on CBOs. Y'all just left me with the seniors by myself. I see y'all, okay. That's okay.
You don't
Ohio
have
State
seniors
stays
by
itself.
yourself. I can help with seniors. And I can also help with education and messaging.
Okay, that's right. And I will be your backup.
For messaging?
Faith-based.
Oh, faith-based.
Okay, great. So if we can kind of just like report out on this next meeting, and then from there, like say if we said a goal is for each of us to reach out to one entity, and then come back next week and discuss that in regards to planning our actual launch event, I think that would be great. Did you guys have anything in mind in regards to like location or what type of event? And it's getting cold, by the way. Just want to throw that out there.
We had kicked a couple of possibilities around. I think we talked about the viability of something in person also the fact that because we're a commuter town, the need to perhaps have it be something that has a remote component to it also. So obviously that is something where we, so if something is held at, for example, the Pruitt Community Center down at Pruitt, is there the ability for it to be broadcast like meetings are broadcast here or from Nick Rodriguez, or is that something that is not a possibility?
I think the last time we went there, they weren't able to broadcast, but they did record and then broadcast later. So we had a meeting, an APOC meeting there, and they didn't have the technology present to like live broadcast.
Okay. But I think the general sense is that it needs to be something in person, if at all possible.
I'm definitely an in-person person. You guys, I don't know if you guys have ever watched like the Board of Supervisors sessions or like their commissions. They stream them over Zoom, and people are able to participate via Zoom. I have Zoom. I'm more than willing to donate my Zoom, and so we can have a hybrid.
So yeah, I brought up the hybrid. We would.
And I was against it.
Why?
There was some pushback, but we were talking about having an event that would be in person and online. I thought it'd be a good introduction to, people who are in transit or commuting in, other ways. I think we decided to do hybrid.
I thought that we were going to discuss it further. I thought we were going to discuss it more further, and I don't think we did. But if we want to do hybrid, that's okay with me.
What's your reasoning? I'm curious.
I just felt that the very first event would be more beneficial if it was in person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just my way of thinking.
So it will be in person. It'll just have Zoom access.
It'll be hybrid.
Yeah. So
Okay.
both.
So if we do hybrid, that I can go with that.
Okay.
But I got the impression that we wanted to totally depend
Only Zoom
on,
or only on online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was totally against that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can understand that. I think we do need to start being more open to the
Right.
public and stuff, but also accessible. So hybrid is.
And the reason I said, our first one would be like a kind of an introductory thing to like the commission, right? Because it allows people to have access, and then I think we talked about doing hybrid, but I wanted people to have a feeling that they weren't left out, and that look at our room. We don't have that many folks because they're in transit on a Monday, So Commissioner Lacey Oha and I discussed this, and I think we came to a compromise. That's just my thoughts, but I think, I get the first one. We want to initially be like, oh, hey, here we are, but I think most people would appreciate if we gave them the opportunity to talk to us online.
Yeah, we discussed all of this on September 10th.
Yeah, she has the notes, the minutes. There's receipts.
All right, cool. So hybrid event, tentative month in mind, not date, month.
We have not gotten to a month. We can certainly talk more about that. I think part of the challenge at this point is we are in essentially mid-October.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, you hit November.
Holidays.
And you've got the holidays. So if we are unable to pull this off before like the second week or so in November, it would probably be something to kick off 2026.
I'm not opposed to that. I think if we really talk about just utilizing this quarter to kind of ramp up marketing our own presence in these individual sections, we can come in 2026 really strong.
Mm-hmm.
So how about the ad hoc take this back and flush it out further, and we can talk more about that with everything else in 2 weeks.
Sounds good to me. So right now we are good on our individual groups, what we plan on doing. We have a goal of outreach for at least one of our umbrella
Yeah.
themes. And then you all will go back, start looking at our January tentative hybrid event. Good? Commissioner Mitchell, good?
Look, can we all be there? Because Brown Act, right, rules and all that. Can we all attend?
If a quorum of the commission is going to be there, it should be a notice Brown Act meeting.
Okay.
Is it a possibility, given that the proposed new ordinance gives us the option of holding a public forum? Is that an option instead?
And we just don't have capacity to staff a quorumed meeting outside of our scheduled meetings, so.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
We just don't have the option, staffing bandwidth to clerk a quorumed meeting. So I'm not sure how that would work out.
And
Party at my
that's
house.
it. There's a staffing issue, and then there's a legal issue, which is if there's going to be a quorum, and especially if this is going to be something to get people together to discuss the business of the commission, which it appears to be. It must be. It's not a matter of ordinance or not. It must be a notice Brown Act meeting.
And that's, I'm not questioning the notification. My question is, the proposed ordinance indicates that it takes away holding meetings out in other places, and it replaces it with hosting a public forum. So my question is hosting a public forum versus a meeting, provided it is duly noted as a public meeting, is that an option?
Well, it seems, are you asking for something that would be, this would be a forum that would not be held on what would be a normal meeting day?
I think the question is a public forum different than a quorum meeting? I think that's kind of what you're
What I'm
asking, right?
trying to come up with is, let's face it, we are not going to be able to hold an outreach event that's going to be
As a
appealing
commission.
to people if it's a meeting. If it's a public meeting, people are
Correct.
going to go, no thanks. However, if we hold it as a public forum to meet your
Commission in general.
and if a public forum is in the new ordinance and it is approved, is that an option? And we hold it as a public forum where people can come and, maybe they ask questions, but as long as it is duly noticed, is that an option?
And does it still have to be staffed in other words, because that needs to be addressed as well?
Yes, it would. There is no functional difference between this forum and a meeting for when it comes to, we would have to still go through all the notice requirements because there would be the important part is the fact that there's a quorum of the commission there. If there are 4 of you guys or more together and there's going to be discussion of business, even if you guys are getting lunch, it still has to be noticed because there is the potential of the discussion of business. So that's where I think kind of the misunderstanding lies. And maybe I'm not fully getting where you're drawing the distinction between a forum and a meeting because legally they're functionally the same thing. And if there's going to be that, then we would have to have a clerk there in order to be there to take the minutes of the meeting. And that's why I was asking if this would fall outside of the normal meeting times, because what it seems like City Manager Scott was saying was that we don't have the bandwidth to adjust for additional meetings outside of the meetings that are already kind of set up by ordinance.
Understood, and I'm not trying to be difficult. All I'm trying to do is, we have been tasked with creating community engagement events. This is now not just part of our task via the ordinance, it is part of our task via the DOJ agreement. And so if what you're now telling us is our hands are tied with
That-
how,
That is
with
not
how,
what, that's
let-
not what I'm saying.
please let me finish my question.
Mhm.
If what you are now telling us is that our hands are somewhat tied as to what we can and cannot do as far as public engagement events, then we have to come back and have a whole new conversation. Because
Not technically, we can basically.
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
So I think the question is a fair one, and I appreciate the difference between public forum as well as a publicly noticed meeting. I think that what this requires is innovation. So thinking outside of the box, there are 7 of you, and I've had a commission of 21. So there are 2 different zip codes. 3 of you can go to each zip code on the same day and have a fireside chat. 1 of you can stay behind and have an introduction on the ethnic radio stations. There are many ways to skin a cat. So I think the conversation has to be, what is your project management plan to split up and force multiply? And then how are you going to use the APOC or the PD to help with this? So take heart. There are many ways to do this without having a publicly noticed Brown Act required clerked meeting. So what I would suggest is you all have different areas. So how do you say, like, what are the areas? For instance, I held something called The Conversation, and it was with the seniors and high schoolers. I wanted to have a cross-generational conversation about public safety. And so I took several commissioners, and we split off to do that, while another commissioner sat in the dispatch center. So there's a lot of different ways to have this conversation. So, you know, what does it look like to sort of break off into the groups, and then how do the groups complement each other, right?
Shout out to experience.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So I
you.
suggest the fireside chat, 3 plus 3, another 2 could go with the city manager or the city, could do so many fun things. What does a roller skate night look like for the youth committee to talk about public safety? How do you use our Mayor Pro Tem, Rocha, and our council member, Tamisha Torres Walker, who have a direct seat on the committee for the school district? There are parent organizations. The African American Parent Organization just met last week. 3 of you could have gone over there and told them what's going on. So use some of your budget. I believe you have $49,000 left to get swag. What does it look like to have coffee mugs and pins and T-shirts and pins, and do swag kits, coloring books for kids. I think the St. Ignatius conversation is a great one, but there's also Delta Bay. There are many churches. There are African churches here. There are churches who are Islamic. There is a Korean church that always smells good when I drive by. And so I just appreciate any faith-based body that likes to eat. So there was a fish fry that happened at one of the Catholic churches that I stopped in, and then I had the best red snapper I've ever had. So there's a lot of things that we can do to just, not also be a groundswell. I do think that having all of you together for the 2 meetings a year should be planned a little bit better than it was just for outcomes. So I think that there's just a lot that you can do. So don't be discouraged.
And just to go off that, like, once again, just the only legal requisite would be is that it would be 3 commissioners or less that are there. You can't have more than 4 there at a time because of the issues that we discussed.
And I looked at the 55 plus and the 60 plus housing here, and they have monthly meetings. So you actually can just drive to some of these places and say, can I get on your monthly meeting for 15 minutes and talk to them? I know that a lot of our 55 plus, they have a lot to say about public safety, and I'd love to hear it. So
That's
where
my area.
where our meetings are already happening, there's one by my house, is all I'm saying, and they have. Only reason why I know is because I walk while they're having their meeting, and they have really good powdered donuts. Don't ask how I.
During the walk.
Don't ask how I. You know what? You're not gonna roast me. I got to keep my energy up.
Thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Kevin, Interim City Attorney. Appreciate the feedback and the acknowledgement.
All right,
Education.
good. Go ahead.
So the one thing that I do want to make sure that we're cognizant of, and the senior conversation is bringing this up for me, I think that it's important that we do go out and we make inroads. I think it's important that what we do dovetails with what the Sergeant Fashioner and Officer Amiri are also working on, so that we're not at cross purposes, so that we are all kind of on the same page, as opposed to we go say, hi, we'd like to come talk to the people at Tre Vista, and they're like, well, yeah, they were already here. So I think we do need to keep that information in mind, so that we are working again in concert to the extent that's appropriate and so on, as opposed to.
Well, and your body is different than what the PD is doing. So I think one of the things is that civilian oversight committees are a feedback loop to community. They're going to tell you and have a different perspective when they're speaking to you as civilian than they are going to have when they're speaking to the police department. So I do think that you can know, like, to follow up and say, hey, we know that some of our officers were here checking in. How's it going? So there can be congruent conversations that happen without overlap. So I think there's some really good conversations that you will have in terms of your own vantage point.
So I have a question. How would we do this if there are organizations that covers the whole entire county? Because I know of one in particular that we possibly can ask to be placed on their agenda. And I'm going to call out the name. It's All in One. It's an organization that's headed by Mr. Delano Johnson from out of Bay Point.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if they cover the county, Antioch is part of the county, so
Okay.
can't hurt.
All right.
Anything else? Okay, so good. So you guys are gonna follow back up in your report out, so we can close discussion? Cool. All right, so we can move on to discussion item 4-3, the possible formation of a community advisory board ad hoc committee. Is there any public comment?
No public comments, thank you.
All right, so several times just in the midst of communicating with Commissioner Williams, it's been brought up, and I mean, we're a civilian commission, that we need more opinions from community members. And so I brought this up because not only in regards to community engagement, but just thinking that would be a great way for us to get feedback. And so I'll open that up for y'all to share y'all thoughts.
So my first question is, do we have the authority to create such a body? Because in the ordinance, we are designated as an advisory body, not as a body that can create something independently on our own.
It would be an ad
We're
hoc.
the ad hoc.
Yeah,
We would be
so-
the ad hoc, and then we would get community members to give us suggestions that we would, communicate with them. And then come back
I
on
understand
board.
that, but if we're talking about formation of a community advisory board, do we have the authority to create that without the approval of the city council?
I don't think we got the approval of the city council to create any of our other ad hocs. It would still fall under us as an ad hoc.
Are you in question the
But-
word board?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's-
Can we understand what the intent is behind a community advisory board? Because technically you are the community advisory board. So,
it
Right.
what does that look,
it
what
would-
do you
It
need
would be
here?
like a sublet, so a different
Yeah.
ad hoc that would essentially bring in a faith-based leader, a community-based org, someone in the community that could then share their out loud opinions to us so that we can navigate community engagement and our other things that could lend an ear to us as we make policy or scope-based decisions.
Mhm.
Well, the only problem that I would have with that is how we are going to, what is the key word? How will we,
Delegate.
not delegate, but vet
Oh.
the candidates who are interested in serving on this advisory board? We have to make sure that there are no relationships, let me put it that way, no relationships. We gotta make sure that
Go ahead.
that it's an individual that not biased, let me put it that way. So that's my only concern.
So I just want to make sure that I understand. So when you're talking about this, so a community advisory board, that would be, so the commission would then create an ad hoc, then would then select other people to be advisory boards to them?
Initially, when it was drafted in this, it was something that would have fell under like community engagement, since that's kind of what they do, just with giving folks the ability to give them input. And I think it's just drafted here, the wording is kind of drafted a little different, but that was the initial intent.
So what I will say is that I do not believe that the ordinance allows the commission to appoint status to any other members of the community.
Mhm.
That's kind of that's what I've been gathering, that's the idea behind this is, and I don't believe that the ordinance authorizes that. I believe the intent of the ordinance is that the commissioners up here, they would be they're the advisor to the city council, and I'm not sure if it would be proper for you to then kind of give other people your authority to go out there and gather information on your behalf.
Definitely not what I'm saying. So like when we first were sworn in as commissioners, I definitely reached out to several people within the community and said, hey, I want your feedback. This is, what I've been sworn in to do. I'm gonna have conversations weekly to get feedback from you. And that's what the suggestion is. Clearly, we cannot swear others in, but to have a setting where folks know that they can come and give feedback, especially to the community engagement ad hoc.
I think we want you all to continue to be the vessel for receiving and reporting back to us the feedback from community. So I think it would be duplicative to have a community advisory board. And it sounds like you assigned yourself a lot of work tonight. I'm concerned. So I don't know, I would hope that you don't become over capacity.
Right, and that's the point, right? We don't want to overwhelm ourselves, but at the same time, I know that certain council members and other elected officials, they have these groups where community is involved in their meetings. And so I just wanted to support this because I feel like we're a community-led commission, and we want more opportunity for community to be a part of our discussions. And so, having a community advisory board is just kind of, I don't want to say common sense, but
Maybe the term is wrong.
Maybe.
Well, I think you can have like kitchen cabinets on your own. So you can, don't they do that at Blue Rock?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
they
can
do, yeah.
gather anywhere and really get a wealth of information without having an official commitment of
Title and commitment.
by proxy committee.
Yeah.
So
In the past, it was mentioned that folks by choice could open up ad hoc sessions to community if they wanted, correct? In the past, it was mentioned that ad hoc commissioners or the commissioners within the ad hoc could open up their meeting to the public if they wanted.
And
Well-
that,
So it seems to me that the conversation we just had, where we've got people going to the senior community and going to the faith-based community and going to all these different groups, it seems to me that those are going to be some of those people that we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Okay, as the city manager used the phrase kitchen cabinet, I think that yes, there are ways that we can and could and should be looking for better ways or more ways to get feedback from the community. And I think that the title here is where we're bumping up against it. I think that we're trying to look at better ways to get input from the community, but we're not in a position where we can formally create an advisory board separate from us.
Correct.
So it sounds to me, if I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly, that let's just say for community engagement, you guys are, you have your regular meetings, and then maybe two of you just say, let's go down to wherever it is that you're going to meet, and let's engage with the public and get feedback. And maybe you'll have coffee over there every, other Tuesday. And then you'll be able to talk to the same group of people. We'll be meeting back again on Tuesdays if you guys want to come back and have some friends come. That's appropriate. And then you'll be able to pour that into us when we meet all together. So it seems like like she was saying that, you said it so beautifully, but I'm not going to use that word. It's duplicating efforts here. So we wouldn't have to duplicate efforts at all. I can't use the word she used,
And I do kind of want to just point out something that I believe Chair Taylor said, which was the fact that the ad hocs, if the ad hoc meets and they want to open the meeting to the public, they can. There is no issue there with, you could put that on Facebook, put it wherever you want, because you're not meeting as an entire group. You're not pulling a quorum, and so you are free to. Your ad hoc does not necessarily have to be just confined to the 2 or 3 of you in the ad hoc committee. You can go out there as that ad hoc and do work all together and not have to go through the city on that front.
Comment?
move to a vote.
Comment? Comment, please.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you. We do have a lot of work to do as a commission, and this is, I think it closely mirrors the community engagement work. I just feel like we might start getting spread thin and, not be able to really dive into what we're supposed to be doing. So I think if we start subcategorizing a lot of different things and have different committees that require meetings and so forth and so on, might dilute our effort and other things. So I don't know. I think it's basically community engagement work where you're getting feedback from the community. So I don't know. Maybe I'm off base, but it just seems like it would
You're
be.
not off base.
It would seem like it just putting us a little thin.
I'll just say that right now, I'm sorry, Commissioner Lecio, that when we meet, when we're part of these committees, we're on this commission, we have to meet, we have to be in constant communication. And it does kind of put us at a point where it's like, okay, this is too much time, but we signed up to meet, and we want to hear back from the community. We want the input. And so if this is going to be another step of, oh, this is too much, I don't think we should do it. But I'm saying, like, if we can take an extra step in offering ourselves up as public servants, we should do it. But that's just my opinion. I'll pass it on to Commissioner Lucio.
Well, I just wanted to add that, looking at this, when I saw that this was going to be on our agenda, I said, what? I really did. Because the way I'm looking at it is, it's forming a sub-commission under the Antioch Police Oversight Commission. And it's also sending out a false message, really, that we have a commission, which we are the commission, and then we also have a sub-commission. And then some people are going to think that there's 2 people, two groups working together. And I don't think we should go in this direction. I think we need to just stay where we are right now. Because I believe that we're doing a great job, and we may be doing more than what we can handle, but I believe that with, we can do it. We can do it.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Sorry, it says, please use your microphone. I left the button on, sorry.
All good. Okay, so sounds like in listening to everyone and, of course, listening to the legalities, we cannot, as Commissioner Kennedy mentioned, create any extra body. However, ad hocs do have the ability, if they would like to, have open meetings where community members can give their opinions. That's by choice. And that at this time, we are not prepared to move forward in that area. No, it's discussion. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, so we can move on to 4-4, which is the UMA Futures meeting report out.
That was a wonderful meeting we had. Shout out to Florida.
Shout out to Florida. So UMA Futures is a business that while I attended the Noble Conference, I sat in on their presentation. They talked about several things that I thought was super important. And so when I got back to Antioch, I reached out to the presenter and some of the coworkers, and myself, my Vice Chair Williams and Commissioner Kennedy, as well as Officer Amiri, sat down with them and had a meeting. I will let you report out first because you come up first.
That's fine. So, I mean, my report is kind of mirrors what Commissioner Kennedy is going to say too, but we were in the same meeting, we took away the same things, but I also
So you copied.
plagiarized. No, I did not. So I'll just read my report. So my summary of our UMA meeting. UMA is a community-based organization focused on reducing gun violence and supporting individuals impacted by it. They recently presented a workshop at the Noble Conference, which Chair Taylor attended. She felt their work could offer valuable insight for APOC. UMA works closely with local law enforcement, including the police department, to identify community members who are formerly incarcerated and connect them to important resources. Their approach to outreach is hands-on, responsive. They often show up at the scene of shootings or hospitals to engage directly with individuals involved or affected. Over the past 4 years, they've conducted a group audit of more than 400 individuals connected to shootings, kind of like our shot spotter, right? That we're kind of, yeah, helping them better understand patterns and improve intervention strategies. One of their key outreach methods is walking one stops, which I want to do with our our ad hoc. In partnership with police, where they go door to door offering services and resources directly to residents. This method has been especially effective in areas where transportation is a barrier. And we know in our area that we serve, transportation's bad. UMA also runs a mobile health unit that provides free screenings and services right in the neighborhoods that they serve, similar to initiatives seen in Contra Costa County. Their Safe Passage Youth Program helps ensure that young people have safe routes to and from school and other essential places. They use phone cards to stay connected with at-risk youth, particularly in response to a noticeable increase in 14-year-old black males who are being impacted by violence. UMA also works closely with faith-based organizations and emphasizes the importance of having dedicated community partners who are willing to stay engaged long-term. Their mission is to act as a bridge between the community and law enforcement, ensuring that trust is built and maintained on both sides. Their ultimate goal is to keep gun violence down, and they've seen measurable success, achieving a 17% decrease in gun violence in the communities that they serve. They've extended an open invitation to APOC to reach out with any questions or to learn more about their work.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy?
So everything that Commissioner Williams just said, along with, I think, a couple of the takeaways for me was that this is clearly something bigger than just the city of Miami. They've got a lot of work that they're doing in Miami proper, but this is a much broader county-based approach as far as the partnerships, the mobile health screenings, et cetera. I do also agree that I think the walking one-stops have a lot of great opportunity as we look even at some of the things we've talked about tonight. One of the other things that was, I think, a big takeaway for me was that they talked about how they worked with faith-based organizations and other outside entities, but they stressed the importance of having partnerships with people who are willing to stay within the scope of their work, which I thought was really, you know, a big deal, because, you know, it's not uncommon for folks to say, oh, sure, I'd like to help, but then they kind of want to take it a different direction. They want to, you know, so I think that was an important takeaway for me. They also talked about how they are a bridge between the community and the police department, and that the work that they do is not cookie cutter. You're not, you know, you're going to have a few cracks around the edges, and but that the importance of building a coalition of people that are going to show up and do the work within the parameters of the program that you set up.
And my bad, I thought you were first. I was first.
Oh, you were.
Yeah, in here anyway. So I pretty much drafted my report out on the things that I felt that we could utilize as a city and as a commission, which were, again, the community walks. I think we all thought that was something that was useful, and what that kind of looks like is us and other resources, APD if available, doing walks throughout the community of Antioch and handing out resources. I believe I did, I attached the resource guidance paper that they shared with us. So something like this could be built out for the city of Antioch, so that when we do go out and do these walks, we have resources to share with the community. They also took it upon themselves to share like the crime statistics, so that people in community would know if, for instance, crime was going down, a topic of discussion, so that they would know that officers are doing the best that they can to make the community safer. I did ask about their child workers, which are very similar to like the crisis team, except for they expand outside of mental health a little bit. They basically are like us in the way of the liaison between APD and community, can get different feedback than but they show up more hands-on in a way, and it's just basically a community-based org that goes out in partnership. So I did ask about the training that they have, because the statistic that Commissioner Williams shared in regards to the 17% decrease did come from their partnership with the child workers, being able to communicate with people in community, the people that did not have the same trust level with the police department as others may have. And then I also asked about the fiscal considerations, ways they were able to raise funding for their program, and they are following up with an email on that. And I didn't even bring it up at our last discussion, but definitely want to go back to the community walk discussion, and that was my key takeaway. I think I talked about it at our last meeting. I think it's just something that would really benefit us as a city. and I'll go into public comment, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Is there any public comment?
No public comments, thank you.
Any questions or discussion?
I was looking at this and I counted at least 6 things that this organization is doing and it has done in Miami, Florida. And you know, Miami, Florida is a big city, and there's a lot of yes, yes, and there's a lot of crime there. We all know that. But I'm also looking at that it was a 17% decrease in gun-related violence in the communities they serve. And you know, and I believe that's you know, to me that's very, it tells me that their program is successful. And I believe that what was it, the walking one stops in partnership with the police, I believe that's something that we could benefit. It could be very beneficial here in the city of Antioch. So I would like to see us get something started, you know, here in our own city, in our own backyard.
And that's exactly what I felt during that meeting, because they were so solely focused on engaging the department and the community together.
Yes.
And they weren't all stops. They were not doing it. Like, they were like, we're gonna go full force out into the community and do this. So
Yeah, I loved like the little call sheet they gave us was, you know,
Oh, yeah,
like
we
the
didn't talk
icing,
about that.
but like listening to them, because they definitely gave us feedback on where we were at, listening to them tell us like start creating your contact list, right? And then as you create those contacts, invite them out to do the walk with you. And they said when they first started off, they had like 4, you know, community-based orgs walking with them, and that ended up growing to be county partners or other city partners, and just starting with folks who are already within the city, like the public safety department, seeing if they have someone that can come out and walk with us, et cetera. And so it was very encouraging.
I have a question, is there a cost involved with this, or is it just all volunteer?
Just all volunteer.
Okay.
They've got. I thought that they also relied pretty heavily on grant funding.
For CHOW, which is the community-based like policing enforcement, but not for the walks.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, so there's different components. So they are a business and they're for-profit, but they do get granted for their like community-based policing model, which is the CHOW model.
So that means that they're located in different cities throughout the United States, or they're just in Miami?
She did say there was like some kind of national base, but we didn't really go into like detail about that, but there is a national base, because I asked her specifically about the training for their child workers, and there is a national training that they teach.
Okay. And so for what you guys were listening to with them for Antioch, to kick it off, it would be something that's volunteer-based. It could be reaching out to various CBOs or whomever to do your walk. What is it called again? Walk
one stop.
Walk one stop. Okay. To do those, and you wouldn't have to have funding to get that.
Not unless we charge in the walk.
I will say that the most important thing out of the walking one stop is that they, like Chair Taylor said, they leave a flyer on your door with a numerous amount of services. So it says, sorry we missed you. There's social and economic services that are listed on that one flyer. And I think Antioch would definitely be one of the it would be very beneficial for the communities that we need to be in. So like there's elected officials, there's the state services of Florida, public housing services, all those things that people constantly ask us when we're out in the community. Oh, how do I get connected to this? It's all here on one thing. So I think that we need to really look into something when we're doing our community. And Commissioner Kennedy saw the flyer too, and we all thought it was great.
That's something that's already in existence for
Yeah.
Antioch?
No.
It does not
So
exist.
that would be
That's
a
in
cost.
Florida. Yeah.
Right, that would be a cost involved in something like that. So
And putting
we'd
the
have to just be
resource list
thinking about
together?
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, put a door hanger.
Yeah,
You're
Oh,
saying
yes.
A door hanger.
yeah,
door
that's gonna cost.
involved.
Yes,
I'm looking
so-
at the police department. Hi.
Were you? Because I see your finger hot over there.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
But in regards to the contact list, I think that's just general good practice as we develop our relationships to just say, hey, we're developing a resource list. Do you mind if we share your name or email or something like that, phone number on our door hangers? And, it's something we can all practice.
But one thing I noticed that was not on here, maybe I just don't see it right now, was services regarding childcare. Yes, like for example, there's a child care
I don't know.
center, or not child care center, but there is a place that a parent can call to inquire about affordable child care. I know San Francisco has that.
Yeah, we definitely have
Yeah.
stuff like that in this county and in this city, but this is just an example.
Yeah, right
So
here.
we can build out what
Children and
we want to
families.
build out for our
Oh,
resource
that's
list.
Medicaid and
Yeah,
cash
food
assistance.
stamps,
Okay,
Medicaid,
yeah.
cash assistance.
I thought we talked about that. Yeah.
All good?
Well, yeah, let's move on.
Cool.
Let's do it.
4-5, this was actually supposed to be a voting item, but it's a discussion item for our training start time frame. Is there any public comment?
No public comment, thank you.
All right, so I brought this forward because at the last meeting, it was mentioned that there was some hesitance in regards to, did we want to start our training now or waiting until we got a new commissioner placed? So I wanted to bring it forth for discussion. I personally do not want to wait. I would like to move forward. We have quorum and quorum for a reason.
We have an update.
Great.
So, couple of things. One is that we spoke with PD. One of the things that there was a little bit of concern with was that if we started training right now, it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday in 2 or 4 hour blocks starting at 4 or 5 o'clock. We talked as a committee about the fact that if the new version of the ordinance passes, we are only required to meet once a month, and that APD has said that second Monday would be a viable training option.
Yeah.
So, for people's schedules, that makes life easier, because if folks already have existing commitments on, say, Tuesday, then that eliminates that problem, or Wednesday or Thursday. The other piece of what we think is positive news is that in the event someone is unable to attend in person, that it would be recorded via Teams or Zoom. It would live at APD, and the commissioner could go to APD and view the recorded training and not miss out.
I like the idea of the second Monday being utilized, because we already all are pre-scheduled for that time and have been, and I'm busy. So I definitely appreciate
Yeah.
like being able to utilize the same block that has already been blocked out for
Right. And Tuesdays, I could tell you, will be a challenge. Wednesdays will be a challenge. Thursdays is when we, there's NAACP meeting, and well, it all depends on, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays definitely are not good for me.
Yeah, I like the idea, and of course, we've been talking about this, so.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Just looking at the calendar here. Yeah, I think the Monday option will work.
And I'm sorry, can I ask you just to rewind a little bit? You said that there was an issue with starting, or was it just specific to the dates?
Can you
when you
repeat?
first started, because I said that I personally would like to start prior to, or as soon as possible. And you started to talk about the dates, but I thought you mentioned there may be an issue with starting.
Well, one of the reasons that we had pursued the avenue that we did is we have a vacancy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were hoping that if we pushed to January, we would have a full complement of the commission and everybody could start training together, as opposed to being in a situation where the 6 of us go 2 or 3 sessions and then here's this person going, hi, and not only are they kind of behind, but they miss out. So that was part of the reason, and we also didn't know at that time that the recording was going to be an option. So we were trying to minimize the possibility that people, that there would be missed training, which would then lead to additional cost and additional staff commitments to come back and train one person. So that was the intention.
And the other piece of it was, we're coming into the holidays, and we only have one meeting in December. We have the month of November. It's kind of difficult to get the training started right now.
Based on the holiday schedule?
Yeah, the fact that we're going into holiday months. Now, I don't know what holidays AP recognizes, but like we got Veterans Day, we got all of these other holidays coming up. And it's just a lot going on in the next couple of months that I don't know if all the commissioners can even be, present in November. And so, I mean, even in December, people take holiday, they have kids out of school, they got stuff going on, so.
I'm people.
Yeah.
Not to take holiday the kids.
Right. I mean, things happen, so it would just be, this training is so important and beneficial to all of us. It would be so nice for us all to be able to get the training at the same time.
Meaning the vacancy.
Not the vacancy, just all of us. And some of us may not be able to be here. I don't know, November and December is a hard month for anyone, any one of us. So we just have to, take that into consideration.
And if we weren't holding that second meeting in November at Genesis Church, I'd say, sure, let's have our first training on the 17th of November. We only meet once in December.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just trying to look at this from a reality standpoint.
So, go ahead.
To that point, so I remember when we first got our commission started, we did like the Brown Act training. It was maybe an hour or 2 before the meeting, the council meeting. And so I'm like thinking maybe we can show up maybe 2 hours before, do a part of the training since we're all going to be here anyway. I know that work and life is a conflict, but I miss my gym time, but I'm thinking like if we can get 2 hours in.
And that's an option. It would we can potentially talk to APD about that. I think that the reality then is where, be ready to come for training at 4 or at 3:45 so that we can finish a 2-hour training and be in here at 6 o'clock.
And that's going to be a taxing thing, but if we are willing to make that commitment, I don't see why we couldn't do that just to.
And then we're not all going to training at the same time, are we? Is it not broken up into sections?
Oh,
We are all going to training at the same time.
So all of us will be at the training at the same time.
Well, which training is the commission talking about?
The trainings that we have will be given from APD.
I think it doesn't depend on what the training is, and you're split up, because wouldn't that be a?
Potential
That's why I was
ground.
asking, because we just had this.
I'm confused about the conversation in general. In terms of trainings, I think there's rolling trainings. They're provided in a multimodal way. Some are in person, some are dependent on topic, some are different dates. So I think that you all aren't always going to be together in training.
This is different. We have 20 hours of training
Mm-hmm.
that they have outlined for us. Sergeant Fashner did a presentation a couple of meetings ago. It's going to be split up into 2 and 4 hour sessions for a total of 20 hours. And this is separate than the rolling modular training that you're speaking of. And we met with Sergeant Fashner, with Sergeant Kendall, and with the consultant. And I don't have the whole list. I don't think we have an entire list of training, but that we would all be able to train, and they can use examples that are non-APD examples, which would then eliminate the issue of discussing something specific to APD.
The other thing I was going to bring up, because I asked the question via email, I think it was to the other city attorney, regarding that for all 7 of us to be present, or 6 of us to be present. And my question was, if we just put it out there and notice the public that we are having training this day, we're not holding anything that
Yeah.
they don't know about.
Yeah.
And he said that that's possible, we can do that.
Yeah, so I think we can bifurcate the issue. So as far as the question, like you're saying about all you guys being together, we can get you that information. And then I think you're discussing whether or not you should wait until you have an appointment. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Wait until we have an appointment and or hold off until January. And the reason I asked, outside of the reasons that were just named, if we want to wait, is because if we are not going to be meeting all together, then the ones of us who do not want to wait can start their training, because it is a required amount of hours, correct?
Well, the other thing I think that we want to take into consideration is they're willing to record these.
Right.
So I think that, you know, again, as we talk about staff bandwidth, et cetera, cost effectiveness, I mean, and I'll defer to APD, but to expect them to hold 2 or 3 separate sessions on each topic, I think is really sort of unrealistic, because the truth is, you're either going to go 4 and 3, or you're going to go 3, 2, and 2. And that's putting, in my opinion, an undue burden on APD,
I agree, actually.
and it's not cost effective to boot. So we're either going to have certain people who are going to get the training live and everybody else is going to get it recorded, or we're going to do it.
Which I'm fine either way. I don't mind whether it's in person or online. I just kind of want to know exactly what the model looks like so we can decide on if we're going to have training or not. Meaning all of us, half of us, what that looks like. And that may be something that you all as the Commission Readiness Ad Hoc still have to kind
We've
of
had
vet out.
this discussion multiple occasions.
Yeah, but-
Excuse me, Commissioner, the meeting that we had with Officer Kendall and Fashner and the consultant, we talked about this exact subject about the legality, and I think if we follow a certain protocol during the training,
I
which we
remember you telling
discussed,
us. Yeah.
that we can totally be there without any kind of violation.
And I think the city attorney and I are, given your role in upcoming agreements as well as our current settlement agreement, we believe that January is 4 months from now, and that the sooner that you can begin this and have, unless there's a material change in the information, which would then be given to us by APD, have recordings that other people can slot into and watch when they come on board.
But I just have a question. How did we come to the 20 required hours? How did that all come about? Is it
Yeah.
DOJ?
Yeah, and that was,
Okay.
and I think he put it in that presentation.
Yeah,
that
he
we
did a
had.
presentation on it a while back.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
One thing I do have to say, I agree that we should have, never mind. I'm just gonna stop. We got to get this thing going. Thank you.
But I have to say that I believe at this point, we should hold off until January of 2026. And I agree that the holidays are around the corner, and I know there's a lot that goes on for me. I had to cancel out some meetings. I'm gonna have to cancel out some meetings in December myself. My last meeting with this particular group will be in November. We won't meet again until January, so, yeah.
So sounding like we, as a majority, want to wait until January to begin training?
Do we have any seats that are up for?
We do.
You do, okay. So are we all gonna be here in January is my next thing.
We don't know.
Okay, just checking.
Okay. Item 5, public comment.
We have one public comment. Frank Sterling, please.
Hello, how y'all doing? Good to see you all again. I was kind of curious, one thing that made it hard for me to comment was, I know you probably did the comments first so you could take in people's comments into your discussion, but I felt like some of us didn't know exactly what was coming up. So after you talked, it was easier to think of what I wanted to say. So I won't go into everything, but one thing I thought about on the outreach thing, I didn't know if it was like for like Coffee with the Cops type of thing or for the APOC people. So I would say what they were talking about, only getting 2 or 3 of you, take a table and put out a little police commissioner sign, come talk to us, and go to that barber shop on G Street right here. That would be a good place to go. Go to like One Plant, the cannabis place, and put a table out there. Because I feel like this is an oversight commission. I feel like we're kind of blurring the line on like what we're doing over here. We need it to be oversight because of what you mentioned earlier, that these things happened in the past, and we're trying to change and transform into a better policing here. So that would be some of my ideas. Maybe set up at the barber shop, couple of you right down here on G Street. I mean, I see the kids there. I'm the oldest guy I've ever seen there. So these guys are like 18 to like 30. Also, the senior center, if you've ever been to the senior center during the lunch break or whatever they do lunch or their exercise, I mean, there's 50 people down there. So you can just go down there and set up a table there too. That's probably it for that. The other things I was still concerned about, I was wondering, I don't know, I missed the report and stuff because I came a little late, but I'm still concerning the flock and the ICE and the license plate readers. I was curious if you guys could all find out, since you're the commission, are we partnering with flock, and does our cameras connected? The new system that they're rolling out, getting people to use their Ring doorbell cameras and all that, is that going into the flock system? Is ICE able to get that information without police oversight of saying, okay, you need this, go ahead, or don't go ahead? Because following the stories, I know Oakland, you saw me out there the other day, the Oakland Privacy Council, or whatever their commission is, just voted not to expand the use of flock because of the way that they're taking people's data. And it's not just license plates, it's like a description of your car, dents, stickers, the color, make and model, how many times you're going by, and they're building databases of basically of your points of travel, where you're at and where you could be located at any given time, and ICE is using that to track immigrant communities. Anyway, so I'd be curious to find out if we're partnering with Flock, which I think we are, and if that data is being protected or if it's just being given away. And I think that's it for tonight, and I'll try to be coming back to more meetings. It's been a minute, but good to see you all. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
No further public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And ad hoc committee report out.
I think that community engagement and that the commission readiness have already reported out.
So for policy, right? You guys want to take pieces of this, or I can read the first part? Okay. So our recent meeting for the policy ad hoc, we've been working with Lexipol and our friends at the DOJ, and who else is there? APD. Well, yeah. Every Thursday we meet, and so Our ad hoc did not meet after this meeting, but we went over the standards of conduct policy 319, edit it for clarity and remove language that was inconsistent with the bias-free policing, and policy 401. Finalized policy 1009, personnel complaints. We were on policy 1000, recruitment and selection, and we ensured that the language is consistent with bias policing 401. Our monitor Manjeet indicated under the PSP, that's the, oh my goodness, Public Safety Partnership, that they just left, at the end of the month of September. A recruitment plan with strategies and barriers is in the works and possibly in draft form. The recruitment plan is a requirement of the PSP and MOU and should be reassessed annually. Discussed re-establishing the cadets program, which I think is very beneficial to what we're trying to do here in Antioch. Officer Amiri and Fashioner are making the inroads to touch bases with the schools. We have site screening backgrounds for officers to detect bias. Captain Cook will check with Post to see if psychologists are Post certified. Did I get that right? Yeah, okay. Added language for social media, and there are extensive checks for bias on people's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter accounts, and things like that, TikTok. Added language on candidate disqualification due to engaging in discriminatory conduct. In personnel complaints, we updated that policy. Use of force policy changes were reviewed by Chief Vigil and Captain Cook. Sound good? Okay, all right.
You want to continue or want me to go? He went halfway through. Oh, it kept on going. No, we didn't because it wasn't included. I can go if you don't want to. Okay. So because we didn't get to report out at our last meeting, I'm just going to continue to report out from the meeting that we held on September 25th. I think it kind of duplicates that we went over personnel complaints, and it duplicates that because we spent a lot of time going over complaints. I think goes without saying that complaints was a large issue in the past, and so we wanted to make sure that the policy was strengthened, not just in the way of for the police department to follow, but also for community to have a strong opportunity to submit complaints and get feedback once the complaint is submitted, which is something that was brought up earlier today. We completed policy 202, which is training, policy 316, which is field training officer program. Policy 904, transporting persons in custody, was not completed, but was discussed. The Antioch Police Oversight webpage was updated, thanks to Officer Amiri, who did that for us. After Commissioner Elikwachi requested several modifications to make it more user-friendly, and the complaint policy more user-friendly, or the complaint link. And then we also met on August 28th. Did we report any of this out? August 28th we did? Okay, so that was it for the Lexapol and policing practices report out. Commission readiness? Microphone. Is that what?
We talked about commission readiness when we were talking about the training, because
That was the bulk of your updates?
yeah.
Cool. And we definitely did community engagement.
Are you sure you don't want a little more on that?
No, thank you. Is there any public comment?
No public comments, thank you.
Thank you.
Quick question. Has there been any discussion on having our photos downloaded on this APOC webpage? No? Okay. I know our names are there, but do we?
We can do that for you.
Thank
If you would
you.
like to take your headshots with the PIO, I
Thank
can arrange
you.
that for you.
Thank you.
Is that an optional thing? 'Cause- oh, okay. I mean, I take good pictures. I'm just saying. Like, I just want to make sure my hair is cut and all of that. Okay. Yeah. My question is, when folks reach out to us regarding some of the policies here, we can't give them full information because these policies are not final, and I want people to understand that. I'm just making a statement.
Okay.
I want people to understand that we're still in the process of finalizing some things with the DOJ and the police department and everything like that. So what's there, what we're discussing is not final. I just want to make sure that people know there's still time for input on some of these policies. So, yeah, thank you, Chair.
Okay, on to future agenda items. There are several that can be rolled over just based on the chief needing time to put like presentations together, but we also can suggest things that may have come up this evening to go onto the rolling list. I'll start with Commissioner Kennedy.
One of the items that I know I've asked for, and I didn't see it on the list, is an explanation of, or for the distinction between what our role is and what our limitations are as a general law city versus charter cities. I think we're going to NACOL. I looked at the schedule today, and for example, the city of San Leandro is doing a presentation, which is great. City of San Leandro is a charter city.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be helpful before we go to know what some of the distinctions are between what a police oversight commission for a charter city is allowed to do versus what we are allowed to do as a police oversight commission for a general law city, because there are definite distinctions.
Yeah, that used to come up a lot. There were several community members who used to bring up Oakland, for instance, and the city attorney would have to explain the difference. So definitely, I could see the reasoning. Is that something that you would be able to present on briefly?
Yes, I believe so. But I will say one of the biggest distinctions, the major distinction is just what the council can do and what the council can authorize be done. So in a charter city, the council can authorize more be done than what the council can authorize be done in a general law city, because the council can only do so much in a general law city. But yes, the city attorney's office could present on the key differences between a general law and a charter city in this respect.
And it also depends on if a civilian oversight committee was ordered by a federal judge through a consent decree. There's municipal codes and all that stuff like in Seattle. So that doesn't matter if it's general law or charter. So there's a lot of different distinctions on, it just changes basically by city, even within the same state.
Well, and I think the important takeaway here is that you both just made very important distinctions that I think that members of the public have perceptions of things that we can and cannot do based on what they see out in the ether. And so if we could get some of those distinctions, I think it would be helpful. And the only other thing that I would like to hear more about is the public safety partnership outcomes. I know that there was a meeting that some folks attended where there was an overview of the latest information, and
I thought they presented on that. They did. They presented on that after.
Yeah, we do have a presentation, but we're happy to give you more information.
More information would be helpful, I think, as far as some of the, like, for example, I understand that there's a survey that's been discussed. I think that,
Yeah.
you know, if we could hear a little bit more about that when, when members of the public approach us with questions, and we have to look at them and say, gee, I have no idea, because that's a little embarrassing.
And then I just wanted to make sure you know that if you go onto NACO's website, there is a lots of tools, and there is a drop-down interactive tool of all the civilian oversight committees, commissions across the nation, and the distinctions and differences. So I can send that link out as well.
And thank you for that. Again, part of my request is for the purpose of the public.
No, I understand. I'm just letting you know
Oh,
that there's
okay.
a tool.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like to see added, what I would like to see added to the future agenda item is flock. We you know, I received some very, some information from one of our community members, and I appreciate that. And I'm very interested in knowing more about it, and if it is partnered with APD. Because I didn't know that it existed.
Me either, I just learned a lot.
Yes, from Mr. Frank, thank you.
This might be a little ahead of itself, but I wanted to see like what the cadet program looks like, since we're bringing it back, what the plan for that is, and also how are we doing recruitment for young folks to step into that role. Maybe it can be like a presentation or something. That's all. Thank you. And then I want to get the list of agenda items that we still haven't gotten to
You
yet.
have access to it. It's on SharePoint.
Okay.
I told you last time. Bless you.
I'm interested in the crime numbers, being able to get data. I would like to see it, you know, with the report outs every time we have a meeting to kind of, or at least once a month, on how we're doing as a city. Where are we improving, and why do they think we're improving in a particular area? It would be good to know, I mean, because I see improvement, and I just think it would be good for us to have some data to back the improvements that we're seeing from APD. So if that could be standardized for us.
I know.
Partially is why we're here.
A while back, Commissioner Oha had brought this forward, and before you all were commissioners, and there's a link that was shared with me because they do post the crime data.
Yeah.
And I can go back through my email because it's updated consistently on the website, and share that with all of you because it's been a while.
Yeah.
And then we can definitely try to see if we can get like a presentation for sure, because yeah, the last report out that they did at the last meeting on the crime data showed like significant decreases. And so we can follow the trends of that.
Yeah. I think what's happening for me is that I'm seeing the numbers, and I see the decrease in certain areas, and then in some areas, like in certain assaults, there's no decrease, right?
Right, there's increases.
But I would like, so it would be nice just to kind of know that APD is digging into the data, like they are aware of what is causing this change within our city. Because you can get data, but do you know what part of the city is happening? You know, we can look at the address or whatever, but just aggregate to know where is it happening, why is it happening, why hasn't it gone down, what are some of the barriers that they are confronted with as a police force, where they're going to be focusing most of their attention and energy, because we're coming into the Christmas season, the holiday seasons, and we know there's going to be a lot of crime taking place with, you know, smashing grass or whatever, theft. And then what are they doing to get the word out to people to be mindful of your purses, or be mindful of when you're opening up your car and putting all these gifts inside your trunk, you know, things of that nature. So I would just like to see more of that being presented to us, you know, maybe once a month or once every other month.
I wrote down once a month.
Thank you.
I like that topic, Commissioner. That's good. I'm just wondering if it'd be possible to maybe have a guest from APD, maybe an analyst of some sort to show us how they analyze, because you know they do it. They're looking at those stats and figuring out why things are a certain way and how they happen, or increase, decrease. So it would be really nice to understand the mindset and the methods in which they analyze the crime stats. I think that would be good. Maybe a request at some point down the road. I know, staffing and all that sort of stuff, but it would be really interesting from our perspective to understand how they look at things like that. So I think that would be a nice item to have on there. And then you guys have covered just about all the thoughts I had on all that stuff. So thank you.
You have something else?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is there any, because we hear this whole thing about, oh, unhoused people are committing crimes. I just want to see like if there's any correlation, any data that proves that, so that we can see like how do we mitigate some of those things, and how do we get more organizations into Antioch that treat those issues, like how they help the unhoused population. And I just, people stop me all the time like, hey, this is happening because of X, and then I've heard people come that have businesses in the Rayleigh's parking lot that have come here and testified about, not testified, but have spoken publicly about crime and things in those areas. So I just want to see like the data. Is that something that the APD can provide? Is that where do we find? Yeah, kind of similar to what Commissioner Atwachi is saying.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we get our narrative correctly when it comes to our unhoused folks, and it's not their fault most of the time. I just want to make sure that we know that. So.
And I have one more thing. I was wondering if it was possible to get a presentation on how often APD do drive-throughs, and what zones do they drive through?
You mean like patrols?
Yeah, patrols, yes. What areas get the most patrolling? Because I could tell you now, certain ones, areas, zones needed more than others. Yes.
And I just want to be clear too, like when I was talking about the house population, I wasn't saying like, oh yeah, no, people are exempt from doing criminal activity. It's like, I just want to make sure like we have the data that shows.
Is it specific to unhoused? Is your...
Well, that's what some folks come up to me and they say that.
No, I'm saying specifically what you're trying to agendize. Is it specific to data around?
Just data around crime in general,
Okay.
like the crime areas and like Rayleigh's and Deer Valley Plaza and things like that, like what's going on, So I just want to make sure that we are.
So I have, along with our long-running list that you guys brought up today, distinction of general law versus charter law, presentation by our great city attorney, assistant city attorney. Do you want to continue with the PSP presentation? Are you okay with information from the city?
We're happy to give you a information update, overview of the reports and what was next steps and what's currently happening.
You want a presentation? I'm literally asking just so I can note it.
Whatever works. It would just be helpful, I think, to have a little bit more information about what some of those outcomes were, how we're moving forward based
Do y'all
on.
want a presentation?
Or just an update, a brief.
Okay.
Yeah.
Works.
Okay, good.
The flock information, the update, unless we want to have, this is 7 items that were named this evening, plus we have a running list, because as mentioned, time needed for presentation creation, right? And so we can either prioritize these and not go into the list, or we can just have a full agenda and have, the items here that they are capable of putting together.
I would like to just say that flock one, I have to go with you on that one. Like that should be
Prioritized.
Prioritize that one. Yeah.
Any other priorities on this list? Oh, I didn't even read mine. I just wrote them down. So I definitely want to get our quarterly update on complaints. We haven't had our quarterly update on complaints, so I would like to have that. I'll read this one because, like I said, we have a long list over here, but it was the distinction of general law versus charter, a presentation by city attorney, the flock data information, a presentation on our cadet program, the crime data, and patrol routes.
Question. Ooh. I know the cadet program is on there and it's in the works. Like, is there a timeline that we can? I don't want to rush it. I just want to make sure that it's.
Generally, like once we put in the request, then they'll follow up with city manager.
Well, not for the presentation, but like for the program itself. Like, is it happening soon? Is it like a couple months?
Exit email.
Okay, I will send an email.
Prioritizing flock. Any other priorities on this list? General, yes, because that was missed.
And then you have the crime data, you have that
Correct.
plan already?
You want to prioritize it.
Yes, and the patrolling.
I'm going to see if they can just include that in the regular report out that they do with the stats for like the officers. Okay, so all the ones I just named, but the ones that are prioritized are the distinction presentation, the flock data, the complaints update, and the crime. I like the analyst drop that you did because that is who would know that information. So the crime data analyst presentation. Good? Did I ask for public comment earlier? Cool. Okay. We have 3 minutes each for any report out. Commissioner Kennedy, do you want to report out?
I don't necessarily have a report out, but I do have a quick question. I know that the ordinance, the proposed new version of the ordinance was on the last city council meeting, but didn't make it, given the robust agenda. Is that going to be on their agenda for next Tuesday?
This is his item, but yes, it will be on the agenda for next week.
And then just one other.
It'll be right at the top of the agenda.
Okay, and then just one other question in that. So the way that item was presented at the last meeting, it looked like it was for council input. So that's different than it being the first reading, correct?
Yes, it's going to be a discussion item where council's going to, we're going to present council with options as to what we're going to draft, and we're going to actually put the language together, and then we're going to present that as the first reading. And kind of the reason for doing that is because if we were to present it as the first reading right now, we would have to meet the official, like the public hearing notice requirements and all
Right.
that.
No,
This is so then it's kind of, it's a little bit more work on the front end, so then it moves faster on the back end.
understood. And then, are we going to have an opportunity? I think Commissioner Elagawachi had asked if that we have an opportunity to see that or to have input one more time. Are we going to have one more chance to take a look at that after the council input?
No, after council gives the input, because it's council's call at the end of the day, and we work at the direction of council. Once they give us their direction, after we received your input as to what was there, then council takes over from that point. So it will not be coming back before the commission.
So if we have any other input or comments, then it would be in our best interest to be at Tuesday's meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then public comment can be given there by anybody, commissioners, members of the public, and council will direct as council is going to direct.
quickly, we have, I don't know, I get excited about, the farmer's market, the last day of the farmer's market is October 26th. I know. And they're having a walnut, I think it's the Walnut Festival, isn't that in Antioch for the first time, which I'm excited about. And that's the 16th, so I'm going to be there.
Mentioned it earlier, the marching band review. Never had seen it before, and it was quite a spectacle, and I think it might need a little more public awareness next year. It was really fantastic. And then also it is time for neighborhood cleanup this Saturday. I haven't seen the post on where it is yet, but it should be out in the next few days, so I'll be out on that as well.
Where's the cleanup?
Yeah.
Where is the cleanup?
I don't know yet. I haven't seen it posted yet.
Where's the cleanup this Saturday?
Can you, it's been canceled.
So there's no cleanup this Saturday.
Oh, no.
Somebody better tell Mom.
If you guys want to clean up, my car is a mess right now. I'm kidding.
All right, thank you. Is there any staff communications?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Next meeting date is October 20th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. here. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Come on. Is there a second?
A second.
Can we have roll call, please?
Oh, we have, okay.
Motion passes, meeting adjourned at 9:01. Thank you.